Hello everyone, this is DavidViadel23 and welcome to the Mandrago's Cave. Today we are gonna be talking about Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Yes, I have finished the game. It was very nice. I know it is old game, like from 2012 or something like that approximately. This is a Ubisoft game, very nice, that apparently I've seen as well this week that there's gonna be a release or something. They are gonna redo some things or redo the game with higher graphics and everything. That can be very nice, probably, and hopefully with more story. I wanna talk about my experience through the game, what things I liked, what things I didn't like, and what I would do if I would be, you know, organizing this type of game, this release or this reprinting, let's say, of the game. I've been talking a little bit about Assassin's Creed Odyssey as well. I'm gonna put that video here as well if you wanna watch it, while obviously drawing a myself character, okay, a caricature of myself here, like this, funny, cartoony, of me dressed as Edward Kenway. So, I left Assassin's Creed many years ago when we were in the 3, around Brotherhood or something like that, and I think I bought this game at the time, but I never had the chance to, when I moved, never had the chance to take it with me and everything, so it disappeared basically. So recently I got Odyssey, Black Flag and Valhalla online in discount, in a very cheap discount, and I got them, and I've been playing first Odyssey. I don't know why I played it in a different order, because, you know, it makes sense that I play the older one first, so I adapt myself to the better graphics and better dynamics. But it installed like that automatically, and I played Odyssey first, so feel free to check that video. Then I played Black Flag. A couple of things about Black Flag. Edward, you are following the story of Edward Kenway, okay? You are a guy who wants to have fortune, have adventures and everything, get some money to be someone, basically, okay? So, this is a different type of game than the typical Assassin's Creed, because Assassin's Creed, you are, you know, an assassin that needs to eliminate some targets, collect some information, etc., etc. Apparently, since Black Flag, they've done this kind of open world type of system, okay? I like it. In Odyssey, I enjoyed it so much. Here, this seems to be the beginning of that concept, okay? Because obviously, it predates Odyssey. And what I see there is introduction to what the game could be in the future, okay? Like in other instances, like Odyssey, for example, or Origins, for example, or Valhalla, for example, okay? So my thing is, it's nice, but there's always things to improve. Hopefully, if someone from Ubisoft ends up watching this video and listening this kind of things that I would do, it could be interesting, okay? My opinion. The story of Edward Kenway is a little bit weak in terms of why is he an assassin, okay? So, you start the game, you shipwreck in an island, you are randomly find yourself in an island, you wake up, and there is another guy next to you. This other guy is an assassin, and he says to you, "Oh, you know, I'm wounded, please help me to go to Havana, and in Havana I have a target to eliminate, I have something to do in Havana, I have a job to do in Havana, and I can give you a lot of money. I have this amount of money to give it to you." And then you, as a pirate that you are, as a sailor that you are, you say, "Oh, actually, why should I actually take you there? I could just kill you now and take my prize," okay? It makes sense for a pirate, okay? For someone who is sailing and trying to make money in this concept, it makes sense, okay? So what happens next is that, you know, the guy escapes, you are chasing him, you manage to eliminate him, and you take his clothes, his weapons, everything, and you go to Havana and his money, and you take to Havana, you go to Havana to take this prize, okay, to pretend to be him and get that information and manage to get the money, okay? So, in Assassin's Creed there is a very important thing of the game that is called the synchronization. When you are in an area that you haven't explored yet, you will go to a high place, okay? And you sync and you unlock this area so you can see all the chests, all the things that you need to collect around, etc. No? All the mini games or all the missions that you may have in that area. Okay, so here, as Kenway, you sync as well. Why? So I don't know if you guys have played Black Flag. I don't know if you felt like this as well, but why I am syncing? So I just took over a personality of a guy who I don't know. I don't know what is a Assassin's Creed guy. I don't know the Brotherhood. I don't know we sync. I don't know we have these blades, hidden blades. I don't know anything. I don't know why we are wearing this type of outfit either. So for me, because there is a little bit of tutorial at the beginning on how to play, how to move, and very basic stuff, why don't you make that understanding as a tutorial, okay? There is a note on the clothing, there is some previous conversation about the assassins, maybe the guy who you are trying to pretend to be, maybe when he's asking for your help, you ask maybe for some information. Maybe he's confessing to you a couple of things, saying, I belong to this organization, I need to be in this place. Give me context. In this case, in Black Flag, give me context so I can understand what is happening in the connection of those characters. How I know that I have to sync, for example. How I know that I need to use these weapons in this way, okay? So, obviously, all of this story happens. The story is okay, quite short in my opinion, with the observatory. I was thinking, after playing Odyssey first, I was thinking I would be hours and hours and hours hooked into the game, lost in the game, but it happens to be not in that case. Like, I think in 3 days, in 3 rounds of playing, like a good chunk of hours, I managed to finish it, the whole story, and then afterwards I just had to, collect things to max it, to try to do the 100%, like going for chests, animals, extras for my ship and everything, but the story, in 3 days, I had it done. For me, personally, as a storyteller, as someone who enjoys reading, watching movies, watching series, investigating about lore and everything, I would have liked a longer story. Okay, I know as we go progressing into the franchise, like Assassin's Creed has more games after Black Flag, after Odyssey, we know that this is improving, and you have more, let's say, depth in the story. Like, for example, in Odyssey you have more depth, you have multiple storylines, and you can continue with the story even when you finish the game. So that is interesting, and I like it. So now, if you guys are gonna do a remake of the game, try to maybe add more stories. I have to say, I played it with as well some DLCs. I was doing, if I remember correctly, Freedom Cry and Aveline, and both of them are very short. Freedom Cry, I didn't like it much because it is the same. Okay, we are following Adewale. That Adewale is my quartermaster in the Black Flag. Is the guy who is next to me while I'm sailing, giving instructions to the crew. In a pirate crew, basically, the quartermaster is the boss. The captain only has, let's say, total power when the pirates are fighting in real pirate life, and the quartermaster is the one who, when they take the loot, he's gonna distribute the loot. Even for the captain, when he needs to talk, he will be the one who talks. When the crew has a problem and they wanna talk with the captain, he will be the one who basically gathers this information and pass it to the captain. Okay, so basically the quartermaster is the boss, basically. And here in the story, playing Freedom Cry as Adewale, doing the same things in the same places that we were before with Kenway, I understand that we are liberating people, I understand that we are doing some missions, this is just a DLC, but I understand that during the story, during the main story, Adewale just makes a mutiny, basically. He disappears with my ship, with Kenway's ship. Later, he returns to you. Maybe this Freedom Cry belongs to that part of the story, between these stories. It could be interesting. My thing is, I already played Black Flag. I already played the dynamics with the guns, with the swords, with the machete and everything. I already been saving people around. So to play 6 or 7 hours, because that DLC is 6-7 hours of the same, I didn't like it much. I will not do a video of the DLCs specifically because I didn't find it interesting or captivating for me in the way that you will find like a full game. Black Flag I'm doing because I think I need to express my opinion regarding this game. It is quite close to my heart, the Assassin's franchise. I've been playing Assassin's since the very beginning. They released the first one and I got it. I think it was what I was playing, Xbox maybe? Xbox I think I was playing, and I always enjoyed them. It was one of my favorite type of games because the story was very nice. The 3D, for the time that we are talking, 2012, is quite nice, quite defined. I put it to the highest in my computer and I could play everything beautifully. At the beginning I couldn't find specifically how to modify it because there were some differences as well from the Odyssey, but I managed to find it and it was quite good after upgrading that setting for the graphics, and I could feel it more. So I enjoyed the ship. You have with you a ship that you take called the Jackdaw, and the Jackdaw is gonna be becoming more piratey as you upgrade it. Okay, the sails are gonna be getting darker, the hull is gonna be getting darker, you're gonna have more cannons or even golden cannons and everything. I loved the ship. I think we need more functionality in Odyssey as well, more functionality in terms of the ship, so you can personalize it even more. In Odyssey you have a lot of options to modify and personalize, and in this one obviously less because it's an older game, but it's quite alright. So if you are remaking the game, Ubisoft, maybe add more things, okay? Maybe add more things, and you don't have to collect the items to upgrade. Maybe you need to pay if you wanna pay, or you wanna buy it extra, like maybe in some games you can pay with the real money and have some nice extras that you want. That could be interesting as well. I maxed it out, the whole ship. I've been destroying ships all around the area in the map because we are around the Caribbean Sea, what it used to be, Nassau, Port Royal, Havana, okay, in that area of the map where the piracy in the 15th century, 16th century, 17th century was at its highest, basically, with Blackbeard, Hornigold, and, you know, people like Rackham or Charles Bane as well. All of those guys are there. You interact with them quite okay, but in the terms of I love pirates, this channel, half of the channel is about One Piece, that it's a pirate story, but in my free time as well I read about pirates, I watch things about pirates, I investigate about pirates, about Vikings as well, about, you know, things that I like. I'm always trying to find new information, new lore about it. So I like what we have, but we could go more in depth, okay, in the story. Like Blackbeard, you befriend Blackbeard, you have a couple of missions with him, and with Hornigold as well, and later, slowly, all of these characters are gonna end up dying by your hand or by enemy's hand. Blackbeard in history is a character very controversial because he was one of the most famous, if not the most famous pirate out there. So basically, when Blackbeard dies in the story here in the game, you know, he's fighting, he ends up dying, and that's it. Wood Rogers, that is from the Navy, the one from the Navy who actually end up the era of the piracy, who end up eliminating Blackbeard originally. I know this is a little bit gory and a little bit bizarre, but they caught him and they put him in separate ships and they put him as a prize. It is something that obviously you can't show straight away on the game, but there are pirate lore concepts that they could have been introduced, for example, or as well. I know the walking the plank is something more like Hollywood-esque and something more in literature, not in history. Like pirate walking the plank, you will have it in very specific occasions, maybe a couple of times only, and that's it. But it could be an interesting thing that we could have seen as well, passing through the bottom of the keel of the ship as well as a punishment. It could have been interesting to see, or how they were whipping and everything, and you know, punishing some of the guys that they weren't behaving on the ship or applying to the rules. The pirate code, the pirate rules that they had. Every single ship had their own set of rules. Let's say in like Bartholomew Roberts has his own, Captain Kidd has his own. All of these guys had specific rules on their ships that people who were joining voluntarily or by force, they had to sign. They had to sign a paper, and by signing that paper, all of them will have to, you know, things like not gambling on the deck, or not, for example, keeping your arms, your weapons clean so they could be fit for battle, for example, not bringing women or kids on board, for example. You know, there's a lot of rules, how the shares were divided as well. That was the rule, one of the rules as well. So all of these things I would have loved to see, because I guess there are two different type of people that are gonna be buying Assassin's Creed Black Flag. The ones who are playing all the Assassin's Creed, that this is the main focus of the selling, of the marketing. Okay, so someone who loves Assassin's Creed will buy all of them or most of them. Okay, and then there is people that really loves a topic like pirates, so they are not gonna play Assassin's Creed in general, but because it's a pirate game, they will get it, okay? So, for pirate lore, I think it is a little bit weak, okay? There is a very important character in the story, well, two actually very important characters in the story, that those are the two girls, Mary Red and Anne Bonny. Some of the things that they do, obviously here they need to adapt it to the Assassin's Creed franchise, and here they made Mary Red assassin, and he's kind of trying to help you all the time and instruct you in some sense to some of the things that they do as a brotherhood, no? So you are doing missions with her all the time, okay? First, obviously, she was posing as a man, like in real life, and then she reveals herself to you as a woman, and you help her, etc., etc. And Bonnie, the same. So, at the end of the story, I liked what they done with Mary Red. It's very interesting. I didn't like that they kind of paired her with another character, and then the other character ends up being a fake, because you had all of them mentioned there in real pirate history. And Bonnie ends up at the very end of the story coming with us, okay? When Adewale leaves, and Bonnie stays with us, and she becomes our quartermaster. I didn't like this. If you are gonna do this with a real pirate that existed in real life, make it in a way that she's gonna be doing something, I would say, okay? If she's just being there, not boarding the other ships when you're attacking other ships, not talking to you, not being able to interact with, I found it useless for the story, okay? I finished the game, she says, oh, you know, we are the only guys left, you know, the rest of the guys died, etc, etc. And then you invite her to join you if she wants to join you. She ends up joining you and everything, and nothing happens afterwards. So she's just there, she's just every now and then, you know, she says some kind of NPC type of comments, but I would have liked to see interaction with her during normal times, that you can maybe go to her if you need to access your weapons, if you need to access improvements, instead of going to one of the shops, maybe one of the dogs, for example. You could talk to her, so she's gonna manage the ship for you, okay? That could be very interesting. I would have liked maybe that instead of going into your cabin to manage your fleet, the mini game of the fleet, maybe you can talk to her. And because she's been Quartermaster, she has a hand on this and she can help to manage these affairs of pirate life, okay? The concept of the fleet and everything that you manage, I think as well it could have been improved. It's a mini game that I didn't enjoy much because I didn't have the patience to. I did it all, but I didn't have the patience to. And now you have to wait. Now you have to hit this guy, and now wait 2 hours. I mean, I didn't enjoy that part much. Maybe there are some of you out there that you played and you liked it very much, but for me that part was a little bit not my style. Okay, so it's a game that in general I enjoyed. I love pirates, so it's a very nice game. I was sailing all the time, I was, you know, capturing ships all the time and everything, but at some point for me it became a little bit repetitive, okay? I would like this freedom of choice where I can maybe board a ship in a different way if I want, that I can maybe improve my weapons even further. I think it was limited in terms of weapons. You had just the guns, you had the swords and everything, and then to upgrade them or to buy extra, it was just that. Some of these weapons as well were modified by the time that we're talking about. They will modify their weapons as well, and that could have been an interesting thing to see in-game as a mini-game, how you can maybe modify your own gun, for example. It could have been interesting. I would have liked as well some concept of maybe tattoos, that they would maybe make it. I think in Valhalla you have a little bit of that. I haven't played yet, but you have a little bit of that as well, that you can actually get some tattoos and personalize your character like that, and that could have been interesting. Edward Kenway keeps this feeling of Assassin's Creed as he goes, and he is trying to help the Assassins organization in their stories with the Templars and everything. Interesting, but I don't see a change of heart in terms of yes, I'm doing this for something deeper. It's just doing it because the price, because the money. I understand it as well, but I would have preferred that he embraces the assassin's concept and he becomes the assassin and he loses the finger as well, like all the assassins before. Like, kind of make it, if this is gonna be called Assassin's Creed, and this is something I think I share with the Odyssey experience. If you are gonna call it Assassin's Creed, make them part of the Brotherhood, make them lose the finger, make them interact with other assassins. I loved Brotherhood because you could call other assassins. I miss that. Here, for example, you can, in Black Flag, hire crew. And you have, let's say, 20 NPCs that they are rigging, they are cleaning, they are manning the cannons and everything. Interesting. But why don't allow me to hire guys random guys. They are gonna be maybe 200 NPCs, 300 NPCs, that all of them are different, but all of them I can keep in my crew. So I can hire this one, and it's gonna be all the time maybe manning the cannons, but I recognize the guy. That is Robert, for example, and he's looking like a, I don't know, like a Spanish guy from the time of the pirates. Another one is from England, you know, looking like this. Another one is, you know, anything that you want. The point is personalization. I would have liked personalization within the crew. In Odyssey, you have a 4-system lieutenant way of playing, where you can hire mercenaries, you can hire random guys. I find that very attractive for the story, very interesting, but limited, because you only have 4 there that they are gonna be boarding the ships like you and everything. Here in Black Flag, about pirates, about boarding other ships, and you don't put that. So if you are doing the remake now, add that. All the 20, 25, or as many as you can have, depending on the ship that you are. Obviously, if you are sailing in a schooner, you have maybe 5, 6, 7. If you are in a galleon, in a man of war, for example, you can have up to 200 people, 300 people in your crew, and you can see all of them. You can recognize all of them. You can have your own crew, your own family there. That could be very interesting, very attractive from the point of view of pirate. Okay, pirate. That is then a pirate story. You need to man your ship. It could be very interesting and very attractive, in my opinion. I want to know, you as a fan as well, what do you think, or what is your need in the game? Would you like to see something like this? Maybe at some point they can even, I don't know, see this video and make these things real, you know, because it is very important for the story, I would say. I really want to know your experience after playing the game. I like to talk about how I felt, like for movies as well, for books as well, and it will be interesting if you share your opinion in the show more section, in the comment section, and we talk a little bit about everything. As you can see here, I'm wearing the Templar outfit. This is the outfit that you have in this kind of cell, locked with multiple keys, that you need to eliminate the rest of the Templars. You need to do the main story for the assassins, so you can actually claim what is behind the bars. I would have, this is cool, but I would have liked to have more freedom of choice regarding my outfit. I don't want to wear this default or predefined outfit. Maybe I want to change the gloves. Maybe I want to add more pistols, okay? In piracy, in normal piracy, obviously, the guys weren't looking like, oh my god, like pirates in the movies, like all this dirty and everything. They were obviously dirty because they were like many months on the sea. But they were looking like sailors from the area that they were. If they were Spanish, or they were, I don't know, from England, or they were French, or they were looking like they were looking with their outfits and their uniforms and everything. The thing is, coming from that aspect, coming from that sense of pirate, that you are on the sea, you will grab anything from anywhere. So the loot, for example, on a pirate ship, it wasn't all the time gold, jewels. Some of the time, most of the time, the price would be furniture, clothing, yes, gold, but other stuff, food, supplies, weapons, okay, to improve your ship, improve your weapons as a soldier, let's say, as a warrior, and at the same time, improve as well the ship, because the ship was your house. I would have loved to see that. You give me variety with the ships, that when I attack a ship, for example, they have furniture that I can take and put on my ship. They have clothes that I can have, so my crew has randomized different items that I collect. The items that I'm finding during the whole story in Black Flag, for example, you know, you have statues and everything. Some of them, you are able to see them in your house, but to be honest here, have you been to your house much? No. So I only went to my house to upgrade the house, to have that achievement unlocked and to collect my armor, and that's it. I didn't go to my house. I want it to be around. I want it to be pirating around, you know. So I don't think that house concept is necessary. Okay. Another thing important from the story that it bothered me a little bit is the concept of the kid. You don't make the story with the kid. The Black Flag game is the same. Okay? So that is unnecessary, in my opinion. This guy, once he tastes the pirate life, the Assassin's Creed, the Brotherhood life, he's not gonna go back. He's not gonna go back, have family, have kids. No, he's not gonna do that. He had a very interesting story, the observatory and everything. I find it interesting as well. So this is not a guy who is gonna come back and have a family and settle down and everything. This is a pirate. I want a pirate outfit. There was one pirate outfit in red. I don't remember who was the pirate that was wearing that outfit that I collected at some point. That I've done for one mission only. I think when I went to Tortuga, I said, I'm gonna put this one and that's it. But just give me options. I can change my hat with different feathers. I can have more like a serious captain or more like adventurer captain. Multiple options. It's not that it wasn't available, because apparently some of the missions that you have in the game to finish the game 100% are entangled with the other option of game that is not within Black Flag, but it's another entirely different game, the multiplayer, that you need to do those missions. In that game that is more cartoony looking, we do have actually characters looking like I'm saying, okay? Very different. So you could have used that, because you already had it for multiplayer, as a base. Those multiplayer guys, I think there are like maybe 15 or something like that, or 18. You could have used those guys, obviously rendering them in 3D a little bit more realistic, because in multiplayer is more cartoon. Render them a little bit more realistic and show it to us in the crew. So those could have been the guys that you hire while you are in your story, that you encounter randomly in a canteen, in a shore, in another ship, and you talk with them, obviously having some kind of freedom of choice of what you want to say, a little bit of freedom there, and take them into the ship. Take them into the ship and have them there. One is sitting, one is maybe mapping, because he's navigator, he's mapping the world. He doesn't want to do anything, he's just looking into the map. Like in Odyssey, you have one guy looking into the map in the camps when you go. Basic stuff. That could be interesting. As well, Ubisoft or any other kind of IP, if you want me to brainstorm, just give me a shout and I brainstorm for you. And we think how everything can be not improved, because I don't see it as an improvement, but as something interesting, So as you can see, there are some things that I would have liked to see. I would have liked to maybe be able to interact with, so I can have more, let's say, control over my ship. I can design my ship. I can have maybe a drawing on my flags, maybe on my sails that I want, for example. A little bit more of freedom, instead of giving me one predefined. Maybe do a mini game to customize your own sails, for example, or make a drawing or make a texture. It could be interesting as well, because obviously the pirate flags weren't printed at the time. They were made, painted, or sewed together, so it could have been interesting that you have it very, not badly done, rough and everything. It would have been nice to see some kind of lore explaining the flags, why the skull and the crossbones, from who is the skull with the swords, that's from Calico Rackham, for example, why the hourglass was showcased so many times in pirate flags, for example. Here is more standard, I would say. So for someone who likes pirates, maybe this was a little bit basic in those terms, but I think it's a okay story for introducing people into the world of pirates, okay? Give me pirate lore, okay? Give me, for example, in Odyssey, I said it as well in that video that I have there, in Odyssey, I missed centaurs. You know, if we are having the Minotaur, etc., and that, centaurs. The mythology, I missed it a little bit. Here in Black Flag, there is a ginormous mythology in Pirates about mermaids. You don't want to include fantasy things here because it's gonna break your reality in terms of this is a realistic game. Okay, but make them talk. Make them talk in a pub. Make them talk again. You know, between there is a fort, for example, facing the sea, and you have some soldiers stationed there. Make them have a NPC conversation like, "Oh my God, was that a mermaid? Was that a thing?" You know, to play the mysticism of those characters. That could have been very interesting as well. You see, like. For example, make me think that I've seen a mermaid. Make a dolphin NPC in a little bit in a weird shape that every now and then pops out when you are sailing and you think it's a mermaid, okay? Do maybe a Kraken NPC at some point that if you go to that specific point of the map, there's gonna be a Kraken, you know, coming out or something. You don't have to interact with them. If it is too complicated, or for the remaster is too complicated, just make it a NPC, make it a visual, and that's it, okay? A CGI modeled octopus, squid, ginormous that is coming up a little bit and coming down a little bit. There is only one thing that if you go to a specific coordinates of the map and you basically look through your cabin, through the window in your cabin, you will see how there is a giant squid trapping a blue whale, I think it is. But that's the only thing we could see. Like the ghost ship is something that I liked. I liked the ghost ship, and funnily enough, I got to that at the very end of my gaming with Black Flag. I done everything, and then for the last I left the 4 ships, the Dama Negra, the 2 brothers, and the other one. So I destroyed them all, and then when I went to the last one, it was like, oh, actually, this is actually different. And then I saw that we had this kind of epicness with the magic ship, with no one on board, with the mist and everything. That was something that I enjoyed. Me personally, because I love mythology. Maybe there's people out there, maybe you are watching this and you are like, I don't care about that. I mean, I think I prefer to have a story realistic, but if you have these NPCs talking about this mythology or these stories, it is realistic, because there were talks about all of these, like monsters and witches and everything in many stories, like werewolves and things. Like in every story they have this kind of lore, okay, this fear of the sea, these monsters in the sea and everything. So it could have been interesting. Or maybe if there is an area on the map, like there is a couple of islands that they are a little bit like, they name them a little bit like dangerously, make them as well sound like when you go in there, okay, as a crew with your ship, for example, that maybe your crew is gonna get nervous. They're gonna start running around. Oh my God, what is that in the shadows? Oh, I see something in the water. NPC. You don't even need to make it a storytelling wise inside the main Kenway story, in my opinion. But it could have been interesting, okay? Within the Assassin's Creed world and all the games that they have, obviously there are stories of their own and myths of their own. You could have as well included more stories as well relating Assassin's Creed, maybe for someone from the past. You're gonna see someone from the past, maybe on a ship, for example. I started playing Valhalla, because that's the last one I bought in this 3-pack, and correct me if I'm mistaken, but just at the beginning, I am walking, I'm running around the mountain, and I saw a tree moving. I thought it was a person, an NPC, walking on the forest, far from me, And when I went there, it was a trunk of a tree. So this, I don't know what I see in that moment, and that's cool. That's cool. Did I just imagine myself because I'm immersing into Valhalla, into Norse mythology, or my eye just tricked me because the design was similar to a person, or this is actually made on purpose? Odin, it was meant to, in the Norse mythology, be walking around amongst humans, and he will interact with humans and everything, and sometimes you will see him in the forest. I think this is made on purpose. So if you have that as well in Black Flag, it could be interesting, okay? With pirate concepts, the bottom of the sea, the Davy Jones concept, where is that in the story? Chests at the bottom of the sea, those things that you have to swim down and all the sharks, I didn't enjoy that at all. That was very slow, very painful to be there because you had to do it to complete all the missions, and that I just wanted to finish it. I didn't have the patience either to be one by one going and finding all the things. I did it, but there is no much freedom there, okay? All of them were the same. There's like 6-7 sharks. You need to go through them, collect all the chests. I was just thinking, please, when I go down there, please, just let me see in the legend of this mini mission that I only have to take 2 or 3 chests. I don't want to take 8 chests. Some of them had 8 chests that you need to go through tunnels in the water and breathe. I didn't like that part at all. Maybe it is something that it has been done already in this IP for many years, but how I haven't played the rest of the games, because this is the only 3 I have at the moment. I don't know. Tell me if this is something that is very Assassin's Creed and they are doing it now all the time, but I didn't like it. So if you add in the story, a little bit of mythology, NPC, or every now and then, if you add more control over the ship, that you can have the people, even if you can't send them away, but the guys are there, you recognize them, you have a crew and you name them, that could be interesting. In Odyssey, you could see all of them in the map. When you have to select them, all of them look the same. So you don't know which one are you having. I had to manually have a list next to me and write the names of the characters that I liked the most, so I could put them again on my ship if I wanted to change them for something or whatever. So I think there's a lot of limitations. I understand there's a lot of limitations in the story, but let's brainstorm here some things. Just let's talk about creating something that is gonna give everyone a more immersive experience. Okay. And I'm curious about Valhalla now, how it's gonna be, what's gonna happen there. But I see some of those things have been already applied, okay? I will do a video, obviously, when I finish Valhalla. I don't know when that's gonna be. I will take my time, because this looks like it's actually a much bigger game than I thought. But for Black Flag, in general, I enjoy the game. The story is good, but basic, in my opinion. I would have liked more pirate lore and pirate rules. I would have liked to see more pirates, or maybe a big prize that you need to collect, and the chest is there full of gold and full of jewels. It could have been interesting. I would have liked to see more choice in terms of designing my own outfit and my own weapons, maybe a broken sword or a broken type of blade that, because I'm fighting and I broke it, something, and I have to keep it until I fix it or until I get another one. Be able to maybe take some weapons and keep them, not only use them for a moment and then they fall on the ground. Just keep them. If I pick up a spear from someone, I keep it. I can put it in my inventory. If I take an axe, I can keep it as well and put it in my inventory. Okay, like in Odyssey, you have a little bit of those things as well. It could be interesting as well. So, Kenway as a character, I didn't understand why he was being an assassin, not even while joining this Assassin's Creed organization in the story. He didn't feel like he is one of them at all, at any time, in my opinion. And as soon as I could get rid of the original outfit, the blue one, I got rid of it, because I don't understand why he wouldn't change afterwards. After he's discovered and everything, he wouldn't change. So that put me off storytelling wise. Maybe it's just me looking into storytelling so much, into all the details so much, or maybe it's me because I'm, doing all these things on, video games and movies and things, and looking into everything. Maybe it's me just trying to be, trying to find a excellent type of, for my taste, game or gameplay experience. But I want to know what you think. I want to know your opinion here. I want to know your experience through the game. If you have enjoyed it, what things would you like to see improved? And yeah, if you wanted more guns as well. Like Blackbeard used to have like 4 or 6 guns here on the top, more on the corner. And think about it, this type of guns is not like the ones that we have nowadays, that you shoot, boom, 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 and you have infinite magazine. You had one shot there. And if you are on a ship fighting, you will use this once, boom, and it's done. And you can put it away or throw it away or turn it around to use it as a hammer to hit people. Okay, so that's how it was used. That's why they had multiple guns, because it was one shot. You take it out, boom, one shot. Take another one, boom, another shot. And then you put them back so you can recharge them later. Okay, you can put more powder and everything inside. Make him clean the gun as well, so you learn. If you go to a museum, and there are museums that they have some guns from the time there, and you can see how they work, very nice, with the powder and everything inside, and you can see them even open. So that's very nice as well, like a mini game to learn how that, or a cannon is the same system, works, and how they will make it work. Okay, so you see all the process. That could be very interesting and very beautiful for immersion in the game. Okay, so things that were pirate focused. That's my opinion of the game. As I said, I want an open conversation. I want you to explain what you think about Black Flag, what you are expecting to see in the remake, some things that maybe you don't want them to change at all because they've made you feel very connected with the story. You say, oh, they can do whatever, but please don't change this aspect, because this aspect I loved it. I want to know as well that, like, for someone who maybe at that point in the story, in when they released in 2012 Black Flag, for you was like, oh my god, maybe the whaling, big whaling around, hunting the sharks. I enjoyed that very much. So you say, oh, please keep that, yes, or add more animals, for example, to hunt. That's a very nice mini game, for example. You're feeling, okay? So I think we done a simple drawing today, finish for today, okay? I'm gonna sign here. This is DavidViadel23, DavidViadel23. You can say it as you want, and this is the Mandrauscape. I hope you enjoy the video, enjoy the talk and the drawing, and let's open conversation, and let's talk about Assassin's Creed. I hope I can make more videos about it and try more games. Okay, that would be very nice. Ubisoft, if you want to talk, just give me a shout as well. Thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.